real quick.
Hit it.
Of it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Goemonronin's channel. I'd like to introduce you to my pal Flip here. We're thinking we want to get into the podcast game, so we're going to run a series of little practice podcasts by YouTube and then see if we can maybe get to live ones at some point. So this is what that's all about. Feel free to leave whatever comments you like about the topic, as, again, that's the point of the podcast. And of course, there's our original theme music.
Right on, that is original, so we don't have to pay any royalties on that. And I don't know, man. I hope you don't mind. I'd like to give some free commercial time. Here's that problem. To Musicians Hub in Denton, Texas, near the Shell station on University. You can find them. They do consignment stuff. They sell strings and picks and all that good stuff. Have practice space, and they didn't pay me anything. They're just a good place, so I give them props. And I work at Liddy's, and we do cater. And they didn't pay me extra for this either. It's just a good thing. Better than that Scumway place, the big corporate sandwich shop. We got some good stuff. We got Phillies. Anyway, go ahead.
And I would, of course, recommend that anybody who hasn't, seen beautiful Denton, Texas, come and check it out. And it's well worth it. So I know that there's a lot of Star Trek stuff on the channel already, but I've not done anything like this with a partner or anyone else's opinion really. So I thought we'd kind of just do that as our first little practice one, and then we're going to do a live one on that too, since all the new Trek movies are coming out, and it's kind of a hot topic kind of right now. Into Darkness is coming out. Or it may have already come out. I'm not sure.
That's a Star Trek movie.
The latest one, yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of a Trek's kind of a big thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's your experience with the series?
Okay.
Are you like a Trek guy at all?
I can't say I'm a fan because that's short for fanatic, so I'm not fanatic about it. Definitely more of a Star Wars guy. I've seen I've seen a few of the TV episodes as I was born in '75, so they were certainly rerunning those when I was a kid. I've seen most of the movies, and that's about it. And since I am not a reader, I haven't read the books and stuff, but I definitely respect, the creativity and whatnot. Definitely very entertaining stuff.
Okay, excellent. I grew up with Trek, watching the original series with my father. He stayed up late night and recorded all those things on VHS, and we watched those things till the tapes just wore out. Like put them in a rewinder and they break. So I grew up with Kirk and Spock and Scotty and all those guys, and then of course you probably remember Next Gen.
Yeah, I did see quite a few of. That was one I watched quite a bit because we didn't have cable. We had 3 channels, and they kept rerunning those on that every night.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, you had that hot-looking Latino chick in that one, right? Wasn't she?
No, well, I think
bigger hair.
That I think she's. Or is that you're talking about Troy?
Deep Space Nine.
No, you're talking about Voyager. And the Klingon chick.
No, she wasn't Klingon. No, she's.
Captain James. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Voyager. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. It seems to me like, now I love Star Wars too. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is a great story.
On that.
Yeah. Star Wars has a great story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a you were saying, like a fantasy adventure kind of thing.
More shoot 'em up.
Yeah. It's not as episodic.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. Does that insult you if I say Star Trek was more soap opera?
Well, no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's sort of what was appealing about it?
Yeah, you feel that it was more geared towards people who were into science fiction and actual maybe space voyage stuff, space science.
Speculative technology.
Yeah, there you go.
Because Star Wars is. I mean, they've released some books about Star Wars tech and stuff, but in episode, in movie, it's not very. They're not going on about their tech, and I guess a lot of people that might turn people off about Star Trek, because it's really techy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really techy, but I think once you start paying attention, then watch a few episodes, it all starts to become a little more clear.
Mm-hmm.
What's the appealing thing about Star Wars to you exactly? What draws you?
Probably the Jedi stuff. The idea that you've mixed that technology with something that's meditative and supernatural or higher, involves a higher power. You know what I mean?
Mystic. It's like a mysticism
rather than just straight science. It's I don't know.
Well, I mean, in Trek, they've kind of gone past mysticism and religion, and I think the idea behind it is that kind of stuff caused a lot of problems on Earth and probably in the galaxy for a while, and humanity sort of moved past that by the 24th century. And like you said, like the Jedi, they're kind of like priests, sort of. But they are very different.
Yeah,
but not in a.
They like mix. They're like a mix of a priest and a samurai, and just a bunch of stuff. Have you seen that documentary? It's by an old professor, and he studied all cultures as far as there's always this theme of a hero that the listener of the story can identify to, having all these problems and getting through it, by being true of heart, and you know what I mean?
Right.
And he said that, I guess, George Lucas was one of his best students. Yeah, and he mixed up a lot of stuff, like the samurai stuff and everything with the mask, studying, not looking and going off feel or hearing or whatever.
Mm.
And he just mixed up a bunch of stuff from various cultures and said it in, well, what would be something more futuristic to us, but it was long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Where in Trek, there's that that omnipotent sort of federation that kind of handles everything, and they have like technology, but not necessarily the best.
Mm-hmm.
They're always running into somebody bigger, better than them.
That's a good point.
Like running into new people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
See, wars, because they're in a war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole Star Wars saga it's warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And the Federations, I guess you could say the Federation's at war constantly too, but they tend to do it in like skirmishes or this altercation here, that altercation here. But I get this feeling from Trek that there's this sense of social progress. And certainly in the original series, I don't know, there's that Kirk, McCoy, Spock kind of camaraderie, kind of friendship, and there's some values that come from that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's appealing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is kind of interesting. You got the guy that's pure logic.
They're like a person.
The guy that's just kind of a.
They're like a
one together.
Yeah, they're like an entity. Kirk's like the solo
strength in a sense, for like kind of Luke and Han mixed up at once.
Yeah. Spock's the logic. McCoy's the
Spock is the droid.
Passion.
So to speak. Even though I know they had Odo. I know, right? Data's the droid. Odo's the shapeshifter.
You're starting to remember all this stuff.
Yeah, and that guy was played by the guy on Benson, right?
Rene Auberjonois.
Okay,
he's got a weird name, Auberjonois.
Yeah,
and that dude, he's good at making his voice sound really, because he really has kind of a high pitch sort of, but like his Odo, he brings it like
yeah.
And there's some good characters in Star Trek. Because you're kind of the Wars characters are there and laid out. You know, even in the new movies, we haven't really seen anybody we haven't seen yet. I mean, there's Grievous and there's Dooku, I guess, but yeah, there were some new characters introduced.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess Trek's just so big that you know that they have room for a lot of characters in it, and as you said, that can get kind of soap opera-like.
Hey, something kind of popped out to me, and you know, I wonder if it was, you know, premeditated. I think Billy D. Williams was a pretty established actor, right, before Star Wars.
He was in some stuff.
Yeah, he was a little bit known at least.
Mm.
So was the black guy in the later movies. What's his name? Bad motherfucker off of Pulp Fiction. Samuel Jackson. You see what I'm saying? All those other actors, like I never heard of Natalie Portman before. I know she was hot. Yeah, but I'm saying like they didn't get like Tom Cruise for the. You see what I'm saying? They didn't get well-known white actors or whatever. I don't know.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, like for their black dudes, they chose established guys. Yeah. See, I don't know. Maybe I just don't see enough movies. Like, yeah, I don't really. I need to see more stuff.
Well, see, the other thing is, I don't know, we talked about this earlier. It seems like sci-fi is sort of dying and being sort of dumbed down. It's not like Blade Runner anymore. And I hate to use a word like dumbed down with Star Wars, but for lack of a better term, like it's just not, it's not about that. And I think therefore it's a lot, there's a documentary about Star Trek called Trekkies, and there's this guy talking to this Trek fan and he's going on and on and on about how it's easier to understand Star Wars because you don't have to pretty much one shot, one kill. Like the guy can't even like wrap his brain around stun, even though one of the first things that happens in Star Wars is Leia gets stunned. You know, he's like, they don't have stun. It's like the first, like they have that battle in the corridor, then they stun Leia. You know.
That never happens again.
Yeah, it never happens again, but at the same time, it happened. And I think that if you look into wars harder, there's an underlying kind of story there aside from the action that's going on that you can follow as like somebody who likes story. Get kind of involved in it.
Yeah, probably, I don't know. I guess my older brother, he didn't really get into Star Trek big time, so that I pretty much did whatever he did. So, who knows?
Like I did with my dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, exposure is a big thing on it, and like getting exposed to it later in life, you might not have the same passion for it.
Yeah, I would like, this is kind of funny, a shout out to somebody that may never hear it. I worked with a lady at McDonald's for almost 2 years, a great lady named Sherry Nelson, and she's a huge Star Trek fan, and I'm going to try to, if we upload this, put it on the internet, I'm going to try to get a hold of her so she can watch it.
Okay, we're going to be right back. We're going to be right back for the Part B video. Don't you guys go anywhere, okay?
All right.